I love the Mediterranean diet, and here's why. Although I don't like the word diet. This episode of the Happy Diabetic Kitchen Podcast is sponsored by my diabetes supplier, US Med. US Med offers free shipping and a 90-day supply with every order. To see how they can simplify your diabetes care, call 1-877-840-8218. I did, and I can feel the love. Remember, there is a much better solution, US Med. Hello everyone, I am Chef Robert Lewis, the Happy Diabetic, and welcome to the internet's most delicious cooking podcast. I'm here in the kitchen getting ready to explore a healthy diabetic lifestyle. I want to take the mystery out of healthy cooking and explore some amazing foods and my diabetic journey with my successes and my challenges. Let me help you live your best happy diabetic lifestyle. So welcome to the kitchen, and if you're new to the show, I'm happy you're here. And with me always in the kitchen is my son Jason, engineer, producer of the podcast. This week he is on special assignment, so if you're ready to go, let's get cooking. Hello everyone, and Happy New Year. Welcome to the Happy Diabetic Kitchen Podcast. In this episode, we'll have the recipe of the podcast, Chef Robert's Mediterranean Chicken of Love, and then tips I learned while at cooking school, the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. We like to call it the other CIA. And then I'm going to take the mystery out of the Mediterranean style of cooking, what's commonly called the Mediterranean diet. Now, in the weeks to come, we'll be looking at many other types of eating styles from all over the world, from India to Italian. And I'm going to show you how they incorporate the styles of the Mediterranean diet, similar but to their own culture. It's a delicious way to eat and super healthy. And today we're going to explore why that is. All right, everybody. So if you're ready, stay tuned and let's head to the kitchen. Welcome back, everyone. So happy you're here today. So let's get started with tips from the Culinary Institute of America, my cooking school. I'm going to share with you tips that I learned while I was a student there many years ago. So the one thing I always struggled with as a cook or as a chef and someone in my home kitchen was really, how do you know when the steak is done? How do you know when the fish is done? How do you know when the chicken is done? Now, you can cut it with a knife and make all the juices run out all over your pan, and that's not a really efficient way. The best way is to simply get yourself an instant read digital thermometer. It's the quickest way to ruin a perfect marbled steak or delicate seafood if you don't have one. I mean, think about it this way. When you cut into something to try to figure out if it's done to the temp you like, all the juices run out, and it's a complete mess. So listen, for $10 to $25 at your favorite cook store or online retailer, you can buy an instant read digital thermometer. The beauty is when you insert it into the meat or vegetables or potatoes or the protein, whatever it is you're cooking, instantly it will tell you the temperature. Look, I've been cooking professionally for over 40 years. I don't go anywhere without my digital read thermometer. Some people can feel, some people can touch, but for me, I'm using my thermometer because I'm looking for the perfect doneness that I want. Okay, that's my tip from the CIA, from the Culinary Institute of America. Things I learned in cooking school. A instant read digital thermometer must be part of your culinary hardware at your house. All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back. the recipe of the podcast. Quite honestly, this recipe is probably one of my most requested recipes, and you'll find it on happydiabetic.com. Go to the blog area of my website, and you'll find the recipe of the podcast right there, my Mediterranean Chicken of Love. There's also a search option on my website. Hit that and punch in chicken, and you will absolutely find it. So let's get into it. Let me tell you the ingredients of this amazing Mediterranean-style chicken dish. You're going to need some olive oil, some garlic, some white button mushrooms, some bell peppers, red and green, a Roma tomato, red onions sliced or diced, a cup of vegetable broth, or you can use water, or you can use chicken broth, or you can use white wine. Some stalks of asparagus, some oregano, some rosemary, some basil, and these can all be dried if you like. Some fresh garlic. Now, you know I love to use the garlic in the jar. It works really great, simple and easy, and it's not messy. I love it. I use it all the time. Matter of fact, you know that garlic is really good for you? It is. It's super healthy, super nutritious. But did you know that garlic makes you sleep really good? It does. It makes you sleep alone, but it makes you sleep good. I've also got some skinless, sliced, pre-cooked, remember, pre-cooked chicken breast, not raw. Some black olives, a can of white Italian beans, some black pepper to taste, some fresh lime, and that's all you need. Simple and easy ingredients, turning ordinary ingredients into something extraordinary. So let's simply put it together. You're going to heat your oil in a large skillet over medium heat. We're going to add the mushrooms, the onions, the bell peppers, and the asparagus, and we're going to saute it for about 3 minutes. Then we're going to add the chicken and the garlic. Just heating it up. Lower the heat, add the vegetable stock, oregano, rosemary, basil, add the diced tomatoes and beans and olives, and you're going to simmer for about 5 minutes. Cook over low heat until the chicken is nice and hot. Season with salt and pepper if you like, but I'm not a big salt person, so I'm only going to use pepper and a squeeze of lime. If you like to use salt, why don't you try Mrs. Dash? They make amazing salt-free seasonings. I love them a lot. Okay, that's it. That is my Mediterranean Chicken of Love. If you have a question about this recipe or any of the recipes on my website, go to happydiabetic.com, hit the contact link, send me a note, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I answer all of my emails and all of my correspondence, so you'll be talking directly with me. All right, everybody, when we come back, let's take the mystery out of the Mediterranean style of eating. Notice I didn't say diet. So I know this is hard to believe, but I recently signed up for Medicare. Now, what about my Libre 2 system from Abbott? As my pharmacy was trying to figure it all out, all the complicated paperwork, I was getting a little frustrated, and quite honestly, so were they. So I called US Med to see if there was a better way. And guess what? There is. Their motto is better service, better care. It's what they call white glove service. I was worn out by having to make multiple trips to the pharmacy, only to discover the orders were not even ready. Long lines, or they would say, we need to call your doctor. We need to get confirmation for the refill. It went back and forth and back and forth. And after about 2 weeks of this, I absolutely had it. I would reach out to the pharmacy and they would say, the doc never called us back, or they never followed up. That's the thing I hated the most. So, my recommendation, head over to usmed.com/happydiabetic. Are you ready for US Med to always provide you 90 days worth of supplies with fast, free shipping? Yes, free shipping. Look, they carry everything from insulin pumps to diabetic testing supplies to the latest CGMs. The Freestyle Libre 2 and 3 and the Dexcom G6. You know my love for the Libre 2 system, and US Med is the #1 distributor for the Libre 2 systems nationwide. Look, If you're just starting with Medicare like me, US Med should be your very next call. They accept Medicare nationwide and a broad private insurance coverage with over 800, that's right, 800 private insurers, plus an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. If you're looking for supplies from everything from insulin pumps to diabetes testing supplies to the latest CGMs, and you're looking for better service, easier service, delivered right to your door, free shipping, US Med is who you should be getting a hold of. Dial this number right now. Well, why don't you wait till the podcast is over? 888-885-0012, or simply go to usmed.com/happy diabetic. Don't wait any longer. Oh, wait a second. I think that's my doorbell. I think that's US Med delivering my 90-day supply now. Call them or go to the website usmed.com/happy diabetic now. Again, don't wait any longer. All right, welcome back, everybody. So, from the Mayo Clinic to the New York Times, just about everyone has written about the topic of the Mediterranean diet or the Mediterranean lifestyle diet. So I want to just take the mystery out of why is the Mediterranean diet so good for you? Now, according to the Mayo Clinic, the Mediterranean diet was recently ranked by experts in the U.S. News and World Report as one of the healthiest ways you could possibly eat, along with winning the category for best overall diet for the fifth year in a row. It's also been voted the best healthy eating, easiest to follow, best plant-based diet. So what is it about the Mediterranean diet that makes it so good for you? And is it possible to eat this way from your very own kitchen? So let's just talk about the facts that I learned on how you can start eating the Mediterranean way today. So what exactly is the Mediterranean diet? Well, the Mediterranean diet is an eating pattern or a lifestyle that's been around for a very long time. Actually, it's not so much a diet, like I said, that's bound by a set of hard and fast rules, like many diets are. Don't eat this, don't eat that, eat at this time. It's really more of an eating style that incorporates ingredients that are traditionally eaten by people who reside along the banks of the Mediterranean Sea. So overall, this diet really emphasizes whole, minimally processed foods. It focuses on filling its followers' plates with mostly plants rather than red meat, and leans on a variety of flavors that enhance instead of hurt. And you know, at the Happy Diabetic Kitchen, we're all about health and flavor. Hello, herbs and spices. Goodbye, salt. So what are the health benefits? Well, in a recent search for longevity, scientists discovered, according to the Mayo Clinic, that people residing in Southern Europe not only live longer than those in many other parts of the world, but they also had much lower rates of cardiovascular disease. So over the last 50 years, the Mediterranean diet or lifestyle has become one of the world's most well-studied eating patterns, and research has shown it has many health benefits. Eating a diet that is low in red meat, sugar, and saturated fat significantly reduces your risk of chronic health conditions. Listen, this is not rocket science. It's not brain surgery. We kind of know this. So, such as heart disease and even the onset of diabetes. This is probably why the Mediterranean diet was also chosen in its categories of best heart healthy diet and best diabetes diet for 2022. But what I love about the Mediterranean style of eating, it's not your typical diet. Like we said earlier, there's not a lot of rules. It's more about the ingredients that you're eating that will impact your brain and gut health and cancer risk. So following the Mediterranean diet pattern is actually pretty simple. And the good news is you don't need to move to Southern Europe to put the Mediterranean style eating into practice. Although, let's just be honest, that might not be a bad thing, or really, is not moving there bad news. This way of eating is more about the types of foods you're eating and less about counting calories or trying to stick to a long list of diet rules. Following the Mediterranean eating pattern is possible, or the lifestyle pattern, as I like to say, is possible with a few simple tweaks to your shopping list. For example, make vegetables the hero of your dish. Allow meat to be the supporting act. So what I like to do is look at the palm of your hand. That's about a 4 to 5 ounce piece of meat portion. Now put both your hands together. That should be your vegetable portion. I would also recommend on the Mediterranean diet to go meatless at least once a week. Cook more meals with beans, high fiber, high protein. I would learn to love fish and seafood twice a week. Oily fish like salmon, steelhead trout, those are really good for you and easy to find. Look, I shop at Aldi's all the time, and I can find amazing salmon and steelhead trout there, fresh and delicious and reasonably priced. And listen, all that fish is good for your heart and your brain. Your mother told you that. I would also eat some dairy, enjoy plain Greek yogurt, and small amounts of cheese. I would recommend switching to whole grains. Skip the white refined grains and choose barley, brown rice, and oats, tree barky whole wheat breads. Things that are less processed and closer to the earth are going to always be better. And of course, include fresh fruit, eat it as a snack, or enjoy it as a dessert. So another component would be extra virgin olive oil. So let extra virgin olive oil become your go-to oil. Use it for cooking and salad dressings. Yes, you can cook with extra virgin olive oil. It's a monounsaturated fat, but remember this, there's about 128 calories per tablespoon of any kind of oil, canola, avocado, so easy does it on the oil. Whenever I cook, I try to cook in a non-stick style pan so I can simply use less oil. I would also seek out healthy fats. Opt for avocados, nuts and seeds, flax, that kind of thing. And my favorite topic is flavor your food with herbs and spices. Give up the salt, or at least give it a break, and start using herbs like oregano and basil and rosemary and thyme and curry and things of that nature that really make your food taste great. Save red meat and sugary desserts for the special occasion. Your heart will thank you for it. Now, with that said, I'm going to suggest if you can eat grass-fed beef, that would be my caveat, because grass-fed beef, high in omega-3s, humanely raised, and are really good for you and have so much nutrition. Do a little research on grass-fed beef. And if you like, my episode with Monty Bottens on grass-fed beef, that will give you everything you need to know about why grass-fed beef should really be your beef of choice. So let's get into a little detail about what are the foods that you really should be eating. Exactly which foods belong to the Mediterranean diet is a little controversial, partially because there's a variation between countries. I get that. So the Mediterranean lifestyle also involves regular physical activity, sharing meals with other people, and minimizing stress levels. You can include a mix of fresh frozen, dried, or canned fruits and vegetables, but check the package labels for added sugar and sodium. Ideally, you should base your diet or lifestyle on these healthy Mediterranean foods. So let's get started. Vegetables: tomatoes, broccoli, kale, spinach, onions, cauliflower, carrots, Brussels sprouts, love those. Cucumbers, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and turnips are excellent choices to incorporate in a Mediterranean style of eating. Now, fruits like apples and bananas and oranges, pears, strawberries, grapes, dates, figs, melons, and peaches, great choices. Now, I know what some of you might be saying. Wow, there's a lot of sugar in those types of foods. But again, everything in moderation. Let's focus on some nuts and seeds, or nut butters: almond, walnuts, macadamia nuts, hazelnuts, cashews, love those, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, almond butter, and even peanut butter. Now, legumes, beans, peas, lentils, peanuts, chickpeas, white beans, great for you. High protein, super delicious, easy to find, canned with sodium, without sodium. They're everywhere and a very good value for the money. Whole grains have to be part of this Mediterranean style. Oats, brown rice, rye, barley, corn, buckwheat, whole wheat bread, and whole wheat pastas. Now remember this, when you're looking at pasta, you're going to see a lot of carbohydrates. Well, there are, and there's the same amount of carbohydrates in white as there is in whole wheat pasta. The biggest difference is whole wheat pastas tend to digest very slowly in your body, keeping your blood sugars from spiking. White pasta will digest very quickly, spiking your blood sugars. The glucose goes right to work, and boom, you're at a high. So anytime you can eat whole grain, you are way better off. All right, how about seafood? Salmon, steelhead trout, sardines, tuna, mackerel, shrimp, oysters, clams, crabs, mussels. Those are all delicious and relatively easy to come by. I buy my steelhead trout and salmon at Aldi's. Poultry, chicken, turkey, they are delicious additions to the Mediterranean diet. Eggs can also be part of the Mediterranean diet. Chicken, quail, duck eggs, absolutely. Dairy like cheese and yogurt and milk, very acceptable. But again, everything in moderation. That's really the key. Herbs and spices, garlic, basil, mint, rosemary, sage, nutmeg, cinnamon, pepper, you name it, they would be delicious additions, especially that garlic. And of course, healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, and avocados and olives. Those are great ways to incorporate into your healthy Mediterranean style of eating. I recently read a great article called "The Mediterranean Diet Really Is That Good for You?" And here's why, by Danny Blum from the New York Times. It's a really interesting article. You can search it out on the web, and had some really great ideas. But since then, she says, the Mediterranean diet has become the bedrock of heart-healthy eating, with well-studied health benefits including lower blood pressure, cholesterol, and the reduced risk for type 2 diabetes. And according to Dr. Sean Heffron, it's one of the small number of diets that has research to back it up. He's a cardiologist from NYU. It isn't a diet that was cooked up in the mind of some person to generate money. It's something that was developed over time by millions of people living everyday lives because it actually tastes good and it just happens to be healthy. The Mediterranean diet is not meant to be a hack for rapid weight loss, though rather it should inspire you for a long-term shift in eating behaviors. A lifestyle way of eating is the way I like to say. In one study of more than 30,000 people living in Italy, for instance, researchers found that those who followed the Mediterranean diet more closely for about 12 years were less likely to become overweight and obese than those who followed the diet less closely. So let me just summarize the Mediterranean diet as I understand it. This style of eating, this lifestyle way of eating, really prioritizes whole grains and fruits and vegetables, legumes, beans, nuts, herbs, spices, and olive oil. Fish, rich in omega-3 fatty acids like salmon, sardines, and tuna, are the preferred animal protein source. Other lean animal proteins like chicken or turkey or grass-fed beef are eaten to a lesser extent. The foods high in saturated fats like regular red meat, not the farm-raised, not the grass-fed, and butter. Matter of fact, if you're looking for grass-fed butter, the Irish butter style is made with grass-fed. Interesting. These should be eaten just, in moderation. Eggs and dairy products like yogurt and cheese can also be part of a healthy Mediterranean style of eating. But again, in moderation. And moderate alcohol consumption, like a glass of wine at dinner, is very acceptable. So that's my take on the Mediterranean diet. And in the weeks to come, we're going to explore some other styles of food eating that are ethnic in origin. And I've got some guests that are going to help us take the mystery out of all of that. So in the show notes today, I will put the link to the Mediterranean diet. Is it really good for you? And here's why, by Danny Blum, and other articles focusing on the Mediterranean diet. So thank you, everybody. Stay tuned. We will be right back. Thanks again for listening. The material on this podcast is provided for educational purposes only and is not to be used for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Before starting any weight loss program or style of eating, I would highly recommend you consult your physician or healthcare provider. I'm a chef living with type 2 diabetes. I'm not a doctor, dietitian, or certified diabetic educator. Although I have 3 children, Attila, Dracula, and Frankenstein, that makes me kind of a psychiatrist of sorts. If you're loving what you hear in the kitchen, please leave a comment or feedback at Stitcher, Google Play, or Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening. Your thoughts and your comments are greatly appreciated. Thank you for tuning in. Our podcast is produced and engineered by Jason Lewis. Our theme music by the Happy Diabetic Kitchen Band. And of course, our kitchen mascots, Scout and Tucker. Thanks for tuning in, and let me leave you with this thought. Maya Angelou once said, eating is so intimate. It's very sensual, and when you invite someone to eat at your table and you want to cook for them, you're inviting a person into your life. Invite someone over for dinner this week and invite them into your life. All right, everybody, remember, better this year than last year. Better this month than last month. Better this week than last week. Better this day than yesterday. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, no one loves you more than me. I want to remind everybody that I am a chef living with type 2 diabetes since 1998. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a certified registered dietitian or a diabetic educator. But I can tell you this, if you need advice on any of those topics, reach out to your medical professional team. They are there and ready to help. Our podcast is produced and directed and engineered by Jason Lewis. Our theme music by the Happy Diabetic Kitchen Band. And of course, our kitchen mascots, Scout and Tucker. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And I want to thank my guest, Max Sadek, Mr. Divabetic. Thanks for being on the show today. And thanks for tuning in. And let me leave you with this thought. Federico Fellini once said, life is a combination of magic and pasta. So remember this, better this year than last year, better this month than last month, better this week than last week, and better this day than yesterday. So long, everybody, and remember, no one loves you more than me. See ya next time.